Hello again, Susanna here, your intimacy intuitive. And again, back again with a similar question. So again, it's, this is, what I call this one, getting over your ex, or why can't I get over my ex, part 2. Because it came up again and we got a different response if you saw the first video. So with this particular client that asked the question, it came up a little bit different. She asked me, why can't I get over my ex? She knows it's the best thing for her and for him, and it really wasn't even that good of a relationship, but when she looks back on it, she understands that, but she still has this connection and this desire to be with this person, and it all comes down to basically unfinished business in this aspect. Some people have trouble letting go of the past, and because it's easier to be with something and someone who's familiar, so it's hard to move forward. But in this gal's particular case, it was the unfinished business. She never had a say. He chose to end the relationship, even though she was more than ready for it to end. But it was almost like a little slap in the face of, wait, no, I want to break up with you. You can't break up with me because I'm going to break up with you, kind of thing. So there was some unfinished business because it was never really discussed. It was just like, it's over. All right, see ya. And it wasn't really discussed. Even the fact that, just airing her feelings, and even his. It was just like, yeah, I'm just ready to move on, and that's it. And so there was really no closure. It just ended. And sorry if I flinch. It's mosquito season, which doesn't usually happen that often, but it's been really, really humid summer here. So I've got spray on, but if you see me swatting, so to the important stuff. So having the unfinished business, just having a say, just being able to have a conversation and discuss it and say, okay, that's fine. This is why I'm okay with it, or this is why I'm not okay with it. Just having a say and being able to have that closure to have again, it all comes down to communication. If you communicate it as a couple, relationships tend to last longer, because if you can communicate, you can get along, you can enjoy each other. If you can't communicate, nothing's going anywhere. You might have some fun and it might be a physical thing or whatever, but there's nothing deeper if you can't have a conversation, if you can't really communicate, and especially communicating your feelings, because the other person doesn't know if they don't know. We can only guess. Some of us know, we can read people, whatever, but it's not everything. That's only a certain percentage of a relationship. So you need to be able to communicate those feelings, and your partner needs to be okay with discussing things and having these conversations. And we don't just mean, having these long drawn out emotional conversations that just drag and it's uncomfortable for both people. It's like, it's, discussing how you feel. Or if when things are good, you're having a great time. It's like, oh, thank you. This has been the greatest evening. I enjoy spending time with you. Just sitting and watching TV, or just sitting doing nothing, just sitting reading a book. It's a wonderful thing. It feels good, right? Or if something bothers you, coming out and saying it. The trick there is saying it as soon as you can, because if you don't acknowledge when something's bothering you and you let it go, then your partner thinks it's okay, and they're going to do it again and again and again and again. And then you spring it on them that, oh, I've never liked that. Why do you keep doing this? You didn't say anything. It's all about communication. So in ending a relationship, it's nice to end, if you can end, if it's amicable, and you can share, well, it was great, if you share with each other, it was great while it lasted, but I see where it's not really working, or, well, it was good for me, I'm sorry it wasn't good for you. If you can have your say, it makes it a little easier to move forward. But when things are left unsaid, that makes it difficult. Okay, so what can we do to remedy that? Especially if you're not in communication with the ex any longer, or they're not, or you want to say something but they're not returning your texts or your calls, and they're not interested in communicating. few different things you can do. Write a letter, but you don't have to send it. Feel free, you can send it if you feel like it's okay, or if you feel comfortable with that. But just prepare yourself to have it ignored or still not hearing anything. But it's good for you to just release it. But just writing a letter to the ex and saying all the things you wanted to say. You know, it's one thing if you're telling a friend, it's like, oh, I wish I could tell him this, and I wish I would have said this. And that gets it to the surface. You have a sounding board, but it's good for you to release in your own space. So writing it down is very important because you have the physical act of doing it. And if you can either say it out loud while you're writing it or read it out loud after you've written everything down that you wanted to say, as though your ex is sitting in front of you and you're having this conversation. You know, hold up a picture of them if you still have them, if you haven't burned them or whatever. No, kidding. You know, look into the picture, look into their eyes, because you are connecting with their energy, their higher self in a way when you're doing that. Also, it frees your soul. So you're having this conversation, you're saying the things that were left unsaid, and it releases it from your energy field and from your heart. So it lightens everything up, so it's a lot easier that way. If you don't feel comfortable, if you're not quite ready to let it go, but you still have all these things you want to say, you know, a lot of people like the idea of putting it in the freezer, you know, putting it on ice for a little while until you're ready to heal. Because some people need more time in the grieving process. And then you go and you read it out loud. And then best way to totally release things is to burn it. And, you know, we don't want you to burn your house down. We don't want, you know, we want you to do it as safely as possible. What I have always done is either in a metal pot, and I take it outside because I don't want to get my smoke alarms going off in the house. And have the hose ready, just in case. Not that I've had that many piles or that big of a pile of stuff. I've dated a lot of piles of stuff. But burn it, and that releases it. The smoke releases to the universe, to God, and it's cleared and completely released and gone. Another way I like to do it sometimes, it's usually just something simple. You put something on, you know, a couple little sentences on a small piece of paper, and I would burn it in the sink because I have a metal sink, and then I've got water there just in case it decides to get out of control or something. So, oh, there's a little bee. I got a little honeybee. I don't mind those. They're not going to bother me. The little mosquitoes, not so much. So learning to, I know you guys think, anyone new here, you'll get used to my rambling. And that's the fun part of being outside in nature. So you know this is real. I don't edit. It's all free flow, you know, for information. So, you know, if you like it or don't like it, let me know. Working on being more direct. And as the weather gets better, it'll be easier too. So anything, you know, if there's someone you need to let go of, whether it's an ex in a relationship or it's a friend, an old friend, family member that you no longer communicate with, and there's anything that's left unsaid, write it out, release it. Don't hold it in, because when we hold stuff in, it just builds up and it creates health issues, physical issues, emotional issues. So release it, let it go, so you can move forward and enjoy life, because that's what we're here for, enjoying life. Okay? Embrace the joy and love yourself. Have a beautiful week.